Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Ali here, and in today's video, I'm sharing with you something new that my boyfriend and I are trying, and that is opening up our relationship. I know I share a lot of personal, sexual, and relationship stories with you on my channel, but there are certainly things that I don't share with you. Girl needs a little bit of privacy until I'm at least ready to share it with you, and I wasn't sure if I was going to share this or not because it's still very new and very fresh, still feeling it out. But it's been a few months since my boyfriend and I have had this conversation, and I feel like now I'm ready to start talking about it, sort of share with you where this decision came from, how I feel about it, and talk about the different relationship models when it comes to open relationships, because there's no one way to do it. And another reason why I'm filming this video is for those who are curious about opening up their relationship, who are thinking about it, who've thought about it, and who could maybe use some perspective or hear the experience of someone who's going through this, you know, and trying it out. And get some relatable feedback. Proceed with caution because again, this is all new to me. So anything I share in this video, my thoughts, my opinions, and so on will probably change in a week from now, in a month from now, in a year from now, who knows? Because life evolves, we evolve as humans, sexuality evolves, and you never know what's gonna happen. So let me backtrack and give you a little bit of context about my current relationship. If you are new to my channel and you don't know who I am, hello, my name is Ali, and on this platform we have some casual conversations about sex, relationships, and other fun stuff. I met my current partner, Gab, about 5 years ago now, and when we met, I was single, I was dating, I was having so much fun, I didn't want a boyfriend. I wanted 2 to 3 boyfriends actually, who didn't necessarily live in my own city, who lived elsewhere. When we were together, we were together. We connected emotionally, shared personal, professional stories, and we'd also have a lot of really nice sexual adventures together that included other women, because at the time I was really interested in exploring having sex with other women. He was recently single, got out of a long-term relationship that was an open relationship, a don't ask, don't tell kind of situation. The relationship kind of fizzled out as a friendship, so it wasn't romantic anymore. So, you know, it didn't end on bad terms or anything like that. What he was looking for at the time was a girlfriend. He liked having a girlfriend, but he didn't want to date. He didn't like the dating aspect of like the open relationship. He wanted a girlfriend that he could have fun with and can play with. And I told him I was looking for something not that serious, someone I connected well with, that I could have some great sexual experiences with other women. So he was like, yeah, this is great. Anyways, one sloppy one night stand turned into 5 years later, many businesses later. And you know, I'd say we're still going strong. I love the guy. And you know, from the beginning of our relationship, it started out really intense. We had great sex. I learned so much about myself sexually. He was the first man that gave me consistent, wonderful orgasms and helped me learn about my body. I taught him a lot about sex, just how dirty women can be. And we also had a lot of great experiences with other people. So we did have a lot of threesomes with other women, and it was a lot of fun and it was really great. And you know, that was like the first couple of years of our relationship, and things evolved, things changed. I started changing, I guess, around maybe like 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago or so, where I did notice my sex drive was lower. I wasn't initiating as much. I eventually got in the mood, you know, once like arousal came in, I started becoming much more responsive than spontaneous in terms of my desire. You don't know what I'm talking about, you could check out the video that I did on that. And I started just feeling less sexual. I stopped seeking out threesomes. I also noticed that I was doing them more for him as opposed to myself, like from before, but I still enjoyed them. But there was a shift too. I enjoyed watching more than I did participating. So I still get off watching him with other women, but participating, I'm like, meh, been there, done that. I like to watch him. So there was like a few little sexual shifts in me, you know, and obviously our sex life, you know, started slowing down a little bit, very normal in couples. And this is why, if you plan on being with someone for a long time in a long-term partnership, you do have to work hard to keep your sexual life healthy, no matter how horny you are. You gotta keep it fresh, you know, all the things that I talk about on my YouTube channel, like how to spice up your date nights and so on, all that is true. It requires work. Like, it doesn't come naturally all the time. Like, good sex doesn't always have to be spontaneous. Like, you have to make these things happen. So it requires work and it requires time. And yeah, I also noticed I was just feeling less sexual, and I was missing this like fire that I had when I first met him, you know? I've been learning so much about sex education lately in terms of my school, because I'm currently enrolled in a sex education program. And you talk a lot about communication and telling your partner your needs and so on and so on. And I talk about that a lot on my channel, but I know these conversations are hard to have and they're awkward to have. And I was telling myself, Allie, like you have to talk about these things with him. Like you have to walk the walk, you know, or you have to talk the talk. You can't just walk the walk, you have to talk the talk. So you can't be on YouTube like telling people to do these things, but you're too scared, because the last thing you want is your partner to think that you don't love them, that you're not attracted to them, that you don't have sex with them anymore. Like that is not it. You know, I truly felt like if I could kind of activate the sexual energy in me again, it would be great for me and it would be great for us, you know? And when it comes to other men, I never desired being with another man. Gab is like my alpha male, and I've always kind of been like that, very committed to the man I'm with. I've never been interested in having like a threesome with 2 men and 2 dicks. That's like too much for me. Maybe one day I will, I don't know. But I was very satisfied. Never want to be with another man ever. But lately, I've been thinking about it a little bit more, and I'm like, you know what? Like he had a lot of fun. Well, we both did together with a lot of women. Maybe I'm like ready for like a little bit of my fun, you know? He would never be with another guy, by the way. I don't think he would share me that way with someone. He's like one of those macho guys, you know, alpha males, which is fine because I find that attractive personally. But I also kind of wanted to play separately and see how that felt for my own energy. Like it had nothing to do with him. It was for me, my sexual expression, my female sexuality, and sort of like reigniting that fire that I know I have from like when we first met. And so one day, well, actually before this one day, we did have a few conversations here and there about like, you know, our sex is changing a little bit and what kind of things we can do to improve it, you know, more foreplay, more this, more time together, more technique, like trying different things. Like I'm very grateful he's very open to trying new things because it's important. Like adventure to me is important and trying new things is important, especially in your sex life. Like you really have to put in the effort to want to live a fulfilling sex life. You just do. But then I brought up the conversation about possibly opening things up, which you can imagine is very scary because again, you don't want them to think that you don't love them, that you don't think they're attractive and so on, because that wasn't the case. And, you know, I explained to him that I feel like I've been less sexual and we've been less sexual and I want to kind of reignite something. And like, we've had a lot of fun over the last couple of years with a lot of women and, you know, he's a really lucky guy and so on. But lately, like I've been feeling a little bit like I want to play a little bit and kind of rediscover some parts of me. And I was really pleasantly surprised with his response. He was very receptive to this. He said, you know, I understand the thought of having sex with the same person forever. I don't know, like who decided that, you know? And he agrees too that, you know, he did have a lot of fun with women and me, of course, but you know, it's not too fair to me. And he was like, he was encouraging, he even used the word compersion to describe me like wanting to maybe dabble and so on with other men. It was a very nice conversation. I felt very relieved that it was going so well. It was very short and simple. And I proposed that we dabble when we're not together and when we're traveling separately, because we do travel separately from each other often. We're very nomadic. By the way, shameless Patreon plugin. Speaking of travel and nomad, I do have a Patreon, and on my Patreon, I share a lot of behind the scene footage about our travels, our nomadic lifestyle, our sexcapades, because I have a lot of fun, interesting sex stories. I'm really interested in sex and culture, so I post a lot of that stuff on my Patreon if you're into that. The community is really cool too. It's a lot of just like funny, curious, open-minded conversation. If you're curious about all that, you can click on the link below this video and check it out. And just know that if you do, you are supporting this channel and giving me the motivation to continue learning and continue sharing my journey with you all, my sex education, sexuality journey. So yes. So yeah, I propose that we do dabble when we're not together in the same city. And then I started imposing these rules, like no sleepovers, and he said, no, like, wait a minute, like, I don't want rules. Gab is not a rule follower, by the way. He's like, I don't want all these strict rules and stuff like that. Let's just do this based on a value system. And I said, what's a value system? What do you mean? And he explained it to me that it's guided by principles like honesty, respect, and mutual care, and not external rules, and that it's more judgment-based. So assumes more emotional maturity and trust in the other person's ability to self-regulate. And that each person is trusted to make choices that honor the relationship without micromanaging each other. And then I said, you know what, that sounds kind kind of nice. I know that to some people that might sound super vague because we're like a rule-based society, like don't do this, don't do that, nah. But he was so confident and it made a lot of sense what he said, and it felt real relaxing. I was like, you know what, let's try that. And again, this is all new. Okay, so in the comment section, if you're gonna be like, this is wrong and you should do it like this, blah, 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 this is new, I don't know, we're gonna test it out and see what happens. And then when people ask me like, well, what kind of open situation are you looking for? There are many terms to describe many different types of open relationships. I personally, not a huge fan of labels. However, I appreciate the framework that each of these styles provide. And I am more of a designer relationship or custom made relationship type of person where I can pick and choose elements from these frameworks and put them together into something that suits me and us as a couple. So in terms of frameworks, for example, you have polyamory, which you can think of as emotional and romantic connections with more than one person. It can be hierarchical or non-hierarchical, like primary partner, secondary partner. Think multiple relationships and not just encounters. I'm not necessarily looking for a polyamorous relationship with like different multiple emotional connections with people. Yes, I need an emotional connection with a casual encounter, but I'm not looking for like a full-blown relationship. I do enjoy having one man that I will enjoy my life with, have crazy adventures with, be old and sit on a rocking chair with, and reminisce about all the crazy, wonderful sexual experiences we had in our 20s and our 30s and our 40s, hopefully our 50s, and so on. And then we have swingers, which is people that explore sex with others, but often together. It's usually recreational and not emotional. Think of it as an adult play date. So it's a lot of partner swapping while you're having sex in the same room together, or you don't have to be in the same room, or maybe you're going out on dates with each other's significant others on different days. It really depends. I've never really been into swinging, neither has Gab. It's not something that we've ever done. Again, I'm not really interested in being with another guy together. It's just not something we've ever been into before. So definitely not for us. Maybe one day, who knows? And then we have this wonderful term, monogamish. Now this is mostly monogamous with the occasional openness. This one definitely sounds more like what I am currently looking for. So it can be for travel, specific scenarios, or the rare threesome, definitely something that we've dabbled in. You can think of it like monogamy with the occasional hall pass. Again, all while respecting boundaries and the agreements that you and your partner have made with each other. And then we have the term open relationship. Again, very vague. Honestly, this one kind of sounds like monogamish to me. So an emotionally committed couple with agreed upon sexual freedom that often includes agreements and boundaries and so on. But again, once you start getting into all these labels, they all kind of like mishmash in some way. So you understand how you can just pick and choose different elements from these and just custom make your own personal relationship that suits you and your partner. Anyways, regardless what I call it, this is a new journey. I'm sharing it with you all. We'll see how it goes. I did ask Gab's permission if I can talk about this stuff online. I didn't want to do it without him saying it was okay because I wasn't sure how he'd feel about it. You know, airing our laundry. I was gonna say dirty laundry, but it's not dirty laundry. It's clean laundry. Again, if this is something that you're thinking about, that you've thought about, that you're curious about, I hope I've provided you some relief in hearing about an experience from someone who this is very new for, and I'm navigating it with the best judgment, I hope. I actually started therapy too, just in case. I did recently get a new psychotherapist, but she is also a sex therapist, and she's awesome because I wanted to be able to handle stuff that was gonna come my way with these new experiences that I'm going through. So if you've been through this stuff before, drop in the comments below. Drop some advice, I'd love to hear it. If you're curious and you have some questions, drop it in the comments below. I'm sure myself or someone else can provide you with the best that they can in terms of advice that somebody can offer, give you some food for thought. Stay tuned for more developments of, you know, what I'm going through. I actually talked about this a couple of months ago on my Patreon when I first started getting on the dating apps, because let me tell you, that is like a whole thing in itself. All right, getting on the dating apps after a couple of years in a relationship with someone, it's like a whole different ballgame. It's really interesting. Anyways, I got a lot to say about that in terms of men's profiles. I mean, I'm sure you all, if you're a man watching this, you all have to say about women's profiles too, but I feel like people can use a little bit of help. when it comes to their profiles and stuff like that. But that's a topic for another day. But anyways, I do share some more like intimate behind the scenes stuff on my Patreon that I don't always share on YouTube. So if you are curious and you want to support the channel and you want to get some extra insight, click on the link below and you can check it out and join the community and share with me your experiences in love, in life, in sex, in travel, in whatever. So wish me luck, wish Gab luck, wish us luck, and I'll keep you posted on the developments of being in an open relationship while still loving your partner, but also wanting to have sex with other people. Like, it's a whole thing, friends. It's a whole thing. I don't know. Anyways, all right. Thank you for watching. Je vous aime.